A stretch of scorched Nevada desert. Dust kicks up under the weight of military-grade vehicles. Signs warn, "No trespassing, deadly force authorized." Above it all, the silence of Groom Lake, a dry lake bed that guards a secret so heavily classified, it didn't even officially exist until 2013. Welcome to Area 51. For decades, this U.S. Air Force base, tucked away inside the sprawling Nevada Test and Training Range, has been the epicenter of America's greatest modern mystery. Are we alone? And if we're not, is the government hiding the evidence here? Though long denied by officials, Area 51 was finally acknowledged by the CIA in a declassified report in 2013. But by then, it had already become a legend, the backdrop for Hollywood blockbusters, conspiracy talk shows, and decades of whispered claims. Crashed alien saucers, reverse-engineered technology, secret underground bunkers, even alien corpses. In this episode, we're going to separate the facts from the fiction. We'll look at the actual history of this enigmatic facility, how it began, what it was really used for, and then dive into the claims that made it infamous: the Roswell connection, the Bob Lazar revelations, and the global UFO cover-up culture that continues to thrive to this day. Because when it comes to Area 51, what we don't know might be even more fascinating than what we do. To understand why Area 51 became a magnet for conspiracy theories, you first need to know what it was actually built for, and it had nothing to do with aliens. The story begins in 1955, in the early years of the Cold War. The United States was locked in a high-stakes race against the Soviet Union, and there was one thing the US needed desperately: intelligence. The CIA needed a place to test a new ultra-secret reconnaissance aircraft, a jet that could fly above 70,000 feet, beyond the reach of Soviet missiles and radar. The site they chose was Groom Lake, a dried-out salt flat in the Nevada desert, remote, isolated, and surrounded by military-controlled land. It was the perfect blank slate. Thus, Area 51 was born. The first major project was the development and testing of the U-2 spy plane. Flying higher than anything else at the time, the U-2 could capture images of Soviet military installations from the edge of space. But to civilians, and even most military personnel, these sleek silver crafts shimmering high in the sky were unidentifiable. To the naked eye, they looked like flying discs. The UFO reports began almost immediately. In the years that followed, Area 51 continued to host some of America's most classified aircraft programs, including the A-12 Oxcart, a Mach 3 spy plane developed by the CIA, capable of outrunning surface-to-air missiles; the F-117 Nighthawk, the world's first operational stealth fighter developed in total secrecy and revealed only after it was used in combat. Each of these projects required extreme security and total silence. Employees were flown in on unmarked planes. They worked under aliases. And if they talked, even to family, they risked prosecution. So, while the US government claimed Area 51 didn't exist, mysterious glinting objects continued to streak across the Nevada sky, spotted by commercial pilots and locals. To the public, they looked otherworldly. To the Air Force, just test flights. But they couldn't say that. The truth was classified. And that's where the alien theories began to grow. In the absence of official explanations, people filled the silence with speculation. And once the rumors took hold, Area 51's reputation shifted from secret aircraft base to something far stranger. Secrecy protects missions, but it also creates monsters, or in this case, flying saucers. By the 1960s, Area 51 was already hosting cutting-edge, high-altitude spy planes, but the government refused to acknowledge what was flying there. Pilots were sworn to secrecy. Radar anomalies were explained away. And while strange objects zipped silently through Nevada skies, the public was left to wonder, what are we not being told? That curiosity wasn't born in the desert. It began in New Mexico back in 1947 with the most infamous UFO story of all time, the Roswell incident. It started with a cryptic headline, RARF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. A rancher had discovered strange wreckage, metallic, scattered, and unlike anything he'd ever seen. The military quickly arrived, collected the debris, and changed their story within 24 hours. Not a saucer, just a weather balloon. Nothing to see here. But the damage was done. To many, it seemed like a clumsy cover-up. And for decades, rumors swirled that alien bodies were recovered, that the wreckage was secretly transported, and that it was eventually moved to Area 51 for analysis and storage. Now, here's the twist. Roswell happened 6 years before Area 51 even existed. But once the Groom Lake facility became known in fringe circles, the Roswell wreckage was retconned into its mythology. Conspiracy theorists claimed that the alien tech, or even preserved extraterrestrial beings, were taken to the hidden labs at Groom Lake for study. The legend grew in part thanks to Hollywood. In The X-Files, Area 51 becomes a nexus of government-alien collaboration. In Independence Day, it's where they keep the crashed saucer and dissected aliens. In documentaries and late-night AM radio, it became the place where they kept the truth. So even though Roswell and Area 51 were unrelated historically, they became inseparable in the public imagination. Because the government's silence wasn't neutral, it sounded like a cover-up. And in that silence, the alien narrative moved in and never left. If there's one person responsible for turning Area 51 from a military testing site into the epicenter of alien conspiracy culture, it's Bob Lazar. In 1989, Lazar appeared in an interview with Las Vegas investigative reporter George Knapp, using a shadowed face and fake name. He claimed to have worked at a subbase south of Area 51 called S4, and what he described was straight out of science fiction. According to Lazar, the US government was in possession of 9 extraterrestrial spacecraft. His job was to reverse engineer the propulsion systems, specifically an anti-gravity reactor powered by an exotic fuel he called Element 115. He described one saucer he had seen as a sport model, compact, seamless, and capable of bending space-time. He claimed the craft moved not by thrust, but by warping gravity, a technology far beyond anything on Earth. And perhaps most famously, Lazar described biometric hand scanners that read bone length, tech that sounded outrageous at the time, but which later turned out to have existed on some US installations in the 80s. Overnight, Bob Lazar became a household name in UFO circles. To believers, he was a whistleblower risking everything to expose a truth the government refused to admit. To skeptics, he was a fantasist, possibly brilliant but with questionable credentials. Investigations found no records of his alleged degrees from MIT or Caltech, and no evidence he ever worked at Los Alamos or S4. But that ambiguity only added fuel to the fire. Because in the world of conspiracy, missing records are themselves seen as proof of a cover-up. Lazar's claims, whether true, fabricated, or exaggerated, changed everything. They cemented Area 51 as ground zero for alien secrets in pop culture, After him, books, radio shows, TV specials, and films ran wild with the idea that the US government had long been working with alien technology, hidden in bunkers carved into Groom Lake's bedrock. And to this day, Lazar has never changed his story. He claims he didn't want the attention, that he came forward because he feared for his life. And whether you believe him or not, one thing is certain. The alien lore of Area 51 can't be told without him. Even without alien spacecraft, the skies over Nevada have always been strange, starting in the 1950s as secret aircraft like the U-2 and later the A-12 Oxcart soared above 60,000 feet, well beyond the range of commercial planes at the time. UFO sightings skyrocketed. Pilots, civilians, even air traffic controllers reported seeing glinting, fast-moving objects unlike anything they'd ever witnessed. But when the Air Force was asked for explanations, they said nothing, or they lied. Because these craft were classified, any acknowledgement risked exposing national secrets. Instead, officials often dismissed sightings with vague phrases: optical illusions, atmospheric phenomena, or the ever-familiar weather balloons. This silence created a vacuum, one quickly filled by theories. If the government wasn't talking, what were they hiding? The situation wasn't helped by the base's ultra-aggressive security. Armed patrols, nicknamed the Camo Dudes, routinely confronted anyone approaching the perimeter. Motion sensors buried in the ground, a no-fly zone over the base, even land seizures to prevent photographers and researchers from peering down on Groom Lake from nearby mountaintops. To most people, this was overkill. To conspiracy theorists, it screamed one thing: they're hiding something big. By the 1990s, Area 51 had fully transformed into an icon of secrecy and paranoia. Talk radio legend Art Bell, with his show Coast to Coast AM, turned late-night airwaves into an open forum for alien abductees, whistleblowers, and theorists. Dozens of books followed. Sightings became a pop culture fixture. The line between classified aviation and extraterrestrial fantasy was blurred, maybe intentionally. And here's the irony. Most of the UFOs people were seeing, they likely were real aircraft, just not alien. They were American, experimental, and top secret. But because the government couldn't tell the truth, many assumed the worst, or the wildest. In trying to protect military secrets, the government may have accidentally built one of the greatest legends of the modern era. In 2010, a joke became a global movement. It started with a Facebook event. Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us. The idea: if enough people ran at the gates, someone would see them aliens. It was absurd. It was funny. It went viral, fast. Millions clicked going. Memes flooded the internet. Naruto runners, alien best friends, military response theories. Even the US Air Force issued a real warning. In the end, only a few thousand showed up in rural Nevada, and there was no mass breach, just a desert party and some harmless cosplay. But the event proved one thing: Area 51 isn't just a military base, it's modern mythology. It exists as much in pop culture as it does on a map, a symbol of secrecy, of suspicion, of hidden truth. And just when it seemed like the alien talk was dying down, the US government made a surprising move. In the late 2010s, the Pentagon confirmed the existence of a program that studied unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, the modern term for UFOs. They even released declassified footage captured by Navy pilots, showing flying objects that moved in ways no known aircraft could explain. Suddenly, UAPs were no longer the stuff of fringe forums. They were on CNN, in Senate hearings, and in official defense briefings. The taboo was fading. But here's the twist. None of this has anything to do with Area 51. The government's modern UAP investigations are run by agencies far removed from Groom Lake. There's no proof that the base itself has any role in these recent revelations. Still, the public doesn't care. To the collective imagination, Area 51 is still ground zero. Every drone test, every leaked radar blip, every unexplained light in the sky, it all somehow circles back to that stretch of desert. Because once you become a symbol, you don't need evidence to stay relevant. You just need mystery. By now, Area 51 has become more than a location. It's a canvas for every strange idea imaginable. Once aliens became part of the mythos, it didn't stop there. The floodgates opened, and out came the fringe of the fringe. Among the more outlandish theories surrounding Area 51, time travel technology. Some claim the base is a hub for top-secret temporal experiments, where the US government is testing time manipulation devices, either reverse-engineered from alien tech or developed through breakthroughs they've hidden from the world. Weather control. Others believe Area 51 is linked to HARP-like programs, massive antenna arrays capable of altering weather patterns, triggering earthquakes, or even mind control, all done, supposedly, from the shadows of Groom Lake. Underground cities and rail systems. A persistent theory suggests that Area 51 isn't just a surface facility. It's the tip of a sprawling underground network, connected via high-speed maglev trains to other secret sites like Dulce Base, New Mexico, or Wright-Patterson AFB, Ohio. Some even say these bases house joint human-alien projects deep beneath the surface, far from prying eyes. Cloning labs, genetic hybrids, stargates. The list goes on. If it's weird, impossible, or terrifying, someone has tied it to Area 51. Now let's be clear. There's no credible evidence for any of this. Even many UFO researchers roll their eyes at these stories. They're not part of serious investigations. They're legend building, born out of distrust, imagination, and a deep cultural desire for secrets to be bigger than they seem. But these theories persist for a reason. When something is this secretive, when even its shape on a map is censored, when cameras aren't allowed and silence is policy, people fill in the blanks. And the deeper the void, the wilder the stories become. So, what do we really know? Area 51 exists. It's a real US military installation near Groom Lake, Nevada. It has been the site of some of the most advanced and classified aircraft development in American history. The U-2, the A-12, the F-117, and likely more we still haven't heard of. What we don't have is evidence that aliens are stored there. No verified crash debris, no confirmed extraterrestrial bodies. And apart from Bob Lazar's controversial testimony, no whistleblower with proof has ever stepped forward. But still, the myth endures. Because Area 51 is no longer just a place. It's a symbol of the unknown, of government silence, of what might be hiding just beyond what we're allowed to see. And maybe that's the real story. When people aren't told the truth, when secrets stack on secrets and silence becomes policy, curiosity doesn't fade. It festers, it evolves, it fills the silence with something more powerful than facts, narrative. So we're left wondering if there really were alien secrets. Would they be kept at the most famous secret base in the world? Or is Area 51 the perfect red herring, a decoy myth, while the real story is hidden somewhere else? We may never know, but maybe that's the point. because sometimes the mystery itself becomes more powerful than any truth it might hide. And Area 51, it's not just a military base in the desert, it's modern mythology, where secrecy, suspicion, and science fiction collide in a story that still captivates millions.